Do you like this look? I have been living for it. I have been really enjoying this palette. However, there are some shades in this palette that I am not a big fan of, and that's what this video is going to be about, but it in no way has anything to do about how I feel about James. I really like that boy. He's so cute. I hope you guys take this in the right spirit because it is just about a couple of shadows, okay? I picked up my palette at the local Morphe store. Ooh. Hello! Look at that. And that was a blessing because as of now it is completely sold out online, and it's always great when you're able to swatch these shadows in the store, and that way you can decide for yourself if you want these or not. Just like all the influencer collabs, this palette is not immune to controversy, and there has been some talk about the palette being bad and patchy and not good and all of that. If you're wondering, I just compared the formula for the Jaclyn Hill palette with the James palette, and the formulas are pretty different. The Jaclyn Hill palette starts off with talc, mica, kaolin clay, dimethicone, tridecyl, trimilitate, phenyl trimethicone, and so on and so forth. Whereas the James palette formula is basically split into two different types. There are two different types. I'm assuming they're shimmers and mattes. Because I haven't opened the palette yet, I don't know what they're referring to here. Both the formulas start with mica followed by talc, and then one of the formula goes into synthetic fluorophosphate, calcium sodium borosilicate, magnesium myristate, and so on, whereas the other formula after talc goes directly into calcium sodium borosilicate, phenyl trimethicone. So you can say the second formula is a little bit similar to the Jaclyn palette. So yeah, I'm very curious about this palette, so I thought we should do swatches for this one. Given that there are 39 shadows in here, I don't think I will be able to swatch all of them over my eyes. So my game plan is that we are going to swatch them on the arms first, and those shadows which look kind of patchy, we'll swatch them over my eyes. Yes? Sounds like a good plan. Anyway, since I'm going to start looking like a hot mess in like the next 15 minutes, let me do the outro right now. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a giant thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that YouTube will inform you of my future videos. Alright, so let's dig in. Oh, did my Jaclyn palette come like this too? I can't seem to remember. This one has, you know, similar to Julia's Place, the palette is actually in a bubble wrap inside the box. For some reason, I had expected it to be a plastic palette, but it's cardboard. I have to say, I do like the look of it. It's very clean, looks very pro. The magnets are really strong. Here you go, guys. There's the palette. Looks super pretty. Let's just start row by row. We'll go from top to bottom, and I'll do my swatches in my usual format, you know, no product on my eyes, like no eyeshadow primer, no concealer. James Charles did say that these shadows perform the best when there is eyeshadow primer underneath, but you know, to be fair to my previous swatches, I'm not gonna have any product. Plus, you know, as you guys know, when I'm doing multiple eye swatches, you know, my lid skin gets really raw. And if there's eyeshadow primer on top of that, it's going to be a nightmare. So excuse me for that. One of the shadows ends up swatching crappy. If that is performing better with eyeshadow primer, I would inform you guys in one of the future videos. Anyways, this palette is huge. It does not fold back, which is a huge negative for me, given the size of the palette and given that there is no mirror inside. You get a little plastic sheet with all the names on it, but in all honesty, guys, there are 39 shadows and the cost of the palette is $39. There are some super giant big pans in here. Let me quickly look how much product we get. We get a total of 75.7 grams of product in here. It does not tell us how much the smaller pans are, how much the larger pans are, and I don't care. You guys know I have a ton of eyeshadow palettes, which if they were not a perishable item, I would give as a legacy to my grandchildren. Anyways, initially I thought I would tilt the camera down and all of that, but we're not gonna do that. Instead, we are going to do an awkward like business. So let's do it. The first one is Canvas Ring Light. So good. And 418 So far, I feel like 418 looks a little bit of a disappointment. Let's do a second swatch of it. Yeah, so good is not gonna do so good. The skin tone. Oh, I hope that's not the case. Then we have Rusted, Halloween, Wig, and Tea. They have all swatched pretty nicely. Rusted looks a little bit sheer, but I think it's going to be a great eyeshadow for a transition shade. So pretty. It's really, really pretty. I feel like, you know, overall 518 is doing okay after doing like multiple swatches of it. So that was the first row. So far, I feel like we only need to swatch 518 on my eyes. When I wiped my hand, the shadows just wiped off completely. Since 518 is a matte, I'm gonna take a fluffy brush. There is quite a bit of kickback in the pan. In fact, like as I'm picking it up, it's like falling everywhere, so just be careful. This is how it's picking up. Let me zoom you in. So far, I feel like it's kind of melting into my skin nicely. And what I mean by that is it's not just sitting on top of my skin. Like I told you guys, some of the e.l.f. shadows from their new palette did for me. The Opposites Attract palette. It's kind of just blending in with my skin. It's kind of mixing nicely with my oils, my natural oils. And I think that's how it's going to be on my skin. That's about it. I'm not noticing any kind of patchy, just sitting on top kind of a business. I'm gonna get a smudger brush and see if I can just get it to pack on. It's very difficult for mattes to do this, but the shadows from my latest Batch Code Subculture palettes, they pack on nicely. So this is as good as it's gonna get for 518, I think. Let's watch the next row. We have Pinch Me, Sister, Mary, and Literally. You're Kidding, Shook, Boutique, and Benny. Okay. I feel like Literally is looking a little bit patchy. You're Kidding is not kidding. It looks really, really good. And then Benny, you know, we could test that one too. Other than that, all the other eyeshadows look really nice. When I wiped it off, as you can see, now I'm getting a little bit of residue left behind because now these shadows are darker and probably have more pigmentation in them. Literally, it's a shimmer shadow, so I'm going directly with a smudger brush. Where are you? Literally, where are you? I've just reverse dug into the pan and I'm trying to pick it up. I hope you guys watch this video with an open mind, okay? I am going into this very open-minded and very honest. I honestly don't have any desire to talk negatively about the palette. You know, I like James Charles, but Literally is literally not doing it for me, as you can see. Do you guys want to see if it gets better with a setting spray? Let's do it. Think the patchiness has gotten a little bit better with the setting spray, but overall no, it's still patchy. Yeah, so this shadow is definitely not for me. Okay, let's do Benny. There's definitely a lot of kick up in the pan. I have a feeling that Benny is going to do okay, but let's see. At least with this brush, I'm getting some patchiness. I'm gonna get a smaller smudger brush. I'm getting some fallout with this shadow. It's a teeny tiny bit patchy. I'll have to see the footage, decide what it looks like on camera. In person, I think it looks okay. It's not the greatest, it's not the worst, okay? Let's go into the next row now. So we have Flashback, Face, why am I going that way? Face, Tune, and then Code James. Code James looks a little bit weak. I'm gonna try and build it up. I have my doubts about Code James. Okay, then we have 10% off. No Beans and Spooky. Ooh, Spooky swatched, very nice. Or not. I added a second swatch to it. That's the third row. And I feel like we need to try out Code James over the lids. So the brush is starting to look dirty, but it's cleaned with my clean sweep. You know, there's nothing on it. Code James would be a pretty bronzer for a lot of skin tones, I think. So Code James is definitely giving me issues, you know, without the primer. Let's try the smudger brush. So that's Code James. What do you guys think? This was Benny. All right, let's go into the next row. So we have B, Guac. That's for guacamole, I suppose. Hello, and Playground. What am I doing? I'm gonna try and build a playground a bit. Yeah, it's building up nicely. My skin is also extremely dry today. Then we have Brother. I think I saw someone's video where they were having some issue building up Brother. Artistry. I think this is the prettiest shadow in this palette. I don't remember if this is supposed to be a shadow topper or what. One, this is Love That. And then Pinkity Dinkity. Okay, so Love That has applied beautifully. Surprisingly, I think Brother applied okay. What do you guys think? Pinkity Dinkity is a little too light for my skin tone. It just looks like a light beige, not like much. You know, that's what skin tones do, but that's the truth about it. I think we should try Brother over the lids and see what it does. It seems to be picking up fine. Most shadows that go on patchy, if you were to just prime your lids and keep your primer wet and then directly kind of pack on the shadow on top, shimmer or matte, you could work with it. So shadows are workable, but right now we are just trying to see if we need to put in extra work in it or they're just gonna work for themselves like the modern renaissance. So what do you guys think? Does it look patchy on camera? It's a more sheer shadow than what I thought it would be. Definitely a ton of fallout. By the way, the previous fallout wiped away really easy. So I can definitely see a bald patch here. I'm not sure if it's picking up on camera or not. This shadow is going to need help with a ton of primer underneath. Pack it on directly on top of the primer, but I'm getting quite a bit of fallout with it. If you haven't set your makeup, you could get some smudges with this particular shadow. All right, the last row. Ooh, they look so gorgeous. We have Social Blade, Daddy, Cape Cod, and Lola. Oh my god, Lola applied really well. Yeah, I think these are applying very nicely. Social Blade looks a little weak, so I'm gonna try and build it up. Whoa, okay. All I did was just pick it up again and just go over top. Yep, so far I think this row is doing well. Acapella, Escape, Single, and then Skip. Why is it Skip? I don't remember what you mentioned. They're doing well. Okay, so this is the last row. The only shadow I feel like we should swatch right now is Daddy to see how it does. So far I have Brother and then Daddy's going on my other eye. When I apply it sheer, at least right now, I'm not noticing any patchiness. I'm gonna try and build it up now. So far I feel like literally Brother and Benny and maybe even Code James I'm not so positive about. Not bad, like, you know, 4 out of 39 is about 10%. So now I want to apply some fun shimmers, you know, on top of what I have going on. I'm gonna pick up Artistry. Yeah, Artistry is taking off, brother. Sadly, this is similar to what we saw in the vault, but Artistry on its own is doing okay. Brother is definitely a failure in my opinion. Since I have green going, let's do Guac. By the way, are you guys obsessed with the theme tune that James has done for this palette? It is so good. What are your thoughts on it? Tell me.
I then tried to create a look using the shades that I'd been dying to put over my lids, like P and You're Kidding and some other shades. And of course, this was without a primer.
I did not expect this to look so yellow on my skin. Okay, let's do You're Kidding.
And it turned out as a colorful but still subtle and wearable look.
I feel like, you know, if I were to wear the red just out, this is how I would wear it. This is, you know, like the sheer. Would you guys like to see all the reds in my collection swatched, you know, next to each other to kind of see how they compare with each other? If you do, let me know so in the comments below, okay?
But then when I tried to add some shimmer on top, the lack of primer was very, very apparent. No matter what, the shimmers were taking off the mattes underneath.
It's not turning out that good. You know, I should just stop. You know, I should stop trying to use this palette without the primer.
So I took everything off, added the Morphe primer, and created this look, which I'm totally in love with.
Thank you again for joining me. If you liked this video, don't forget to give me a giant thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you would like to see more shadows from this palette swatched, let me know in the comments below. The giveaway is still going on, so don't forget to enter that, you know, just so that you can win a Marc Jacobs palette and other goodies. Thank you again for joining me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!